send troops into Gaza to deal with Hamas if necessary. However, Trump also said he told them not yet, believing there is still hope for a peaceful resolution. He warned Hamas that if they fail to comply with the agreement, their end will be fast, furious and brutal. This comes as violence in Gaza continues, with at least 7 Palestinians killed in the last 24 hours. Trump's comments follow a fragile truce and a renewed focus on the future of peace in the region. All right, John Rosamondo, president of the Viking Research Associates, is joining us from Washington, D.C. at this point in time. Yeah, hi, appreciate you joining us, John. I hope you can hear me. All right, John, I can't hear you. If you can unmute yourself, that'll be great. All right, there seems to be a problem with your connection, John. We will come back to you momentarily, but of course, a very thin line at this point in time between the truce that was reached between Israel and Hamas. It seems that through the reports that are coming in, that Hamas is not living up to its end of the bargain, and that is going to be a death knell for Hamas. Donald Trump has warned them that there will be troops on the ground that will demilitarize Hamas, and that will be the end of Hamas. In fact, even in popular videos on social media, right after the Israelis left, the IDF left, Hamas mercenaries could be seen killing their own people in Gaza. All right, Vice President J.D. Vance, in fact, and a special envoy, Witkoff and Jared Kushner are addressing a press conference in Tel Aviv. Listen in.
This is a very, very tough situation. You have two peoples, two enemies who have fought a very tough conflict against each other. You have a terrorist organization on one hand that murdered a lot of innocent people. You've got an Israeli army that was defending itself on the other, that has learned a lot over the past couple of years. And of course, you have an innocent civilian population in Gaza that's caught in the middle. But we're here at the Civilian Military Cooperation Center, which we are announcing the opening of. You have Israelis and Americans working hand in hand to try to begin the plan to rebuild Gaza, to implement a long-term peace, and to actually ensure that you have security forces on the ground in Gaza, not composed of Americans, who can keep the peace over the long term. So we've got a lot of work left to do. This is going to take a very, very long time, but I think Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Admiral Cooper behind me have done an incredible job. I want to say just a couple of quick things, and then I want to turn it over to Steve Witkoff. Number one, the Israeli government has been remarkably helpful in this. I want to thank them, thank our Israeli partners, and all the folks particularly who are working hand in hand with their American friends here at the CMCC. And number two, I want to say that there is this weird attitude I've sensed in the American media and the Western media where there's almost this desire to root for failure, that every time something bad happens, that every time that there's an act of violence, there's this inclination to say, oh, this is the end of the ceasefire, this is the end of the peace plan. It's not the end. It is, in fact, exactly how this is going to have to happen when you have people who hate each other, who have been fighting against each other for a very long time. We are doing very well. We are in a very good place. We're going to have to keep working on it, but I think we have the team to do exactly that. So with all thanks to our partners, both in Israel, but all across the Gulf Arab states, Indonesia, the Turks, we are doing an amazing thing here, and I'm particularly proud of the American troops working at the command center who are coordinating this effort and making it possible. So with that, I want to thank Ambassador Steve Witkoff and turn it over to him to say a few things, and after everybody's said a few words, we'll take some questions. Thank you, guys.
The IPU secretary
very much, Mr. Vice President. We're really proud.
All right, at least 4 people were killed in a Russian drone attack in Ukraine's northern Chernihiv region, including a 10-year-old child. Meanwhile, Russia has rejected the idea of a frontline freeze in Ukraine, with Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov stating that Moscow's position remains unchanged On the sideline, the European leaders have criticized Russia's stalling tactics in peace talks, and US President Donald Trump is pushing for direct talks with President Putin, planning a summit in Budapest. He also said that Ukraine and Russia should stop at the battle lines and end fighting. However, the date for a preparatory meeting between US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is still unclear. In a recent meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky, Trump pushed for Ukraine to consider a ceasefire on current battle lines. The Kremlin continues to insist on the complete withdrawal of Ukrainian troops from the east. Martin Saarez, foreign affairs expert, is joining us at this point in time. Martin, appreciate you being here with us. Well, it's very important that Zelensky is also made part of these negotiations. Donald Trump and Putin have met a number of times in the past. I remember that meeting that they had in Alaska, and of course the subsequent meeting in which Zelensky showed up in a suit. I think the important part is that all the three leaders have to get together to figure out lasting peace between Russia and Ukraine.
Absolutely. I think these type of meetings are breaking the ice between these two opposite leaders. I think right now the mediation that Trump is doing is going to be essential to getting to terms. He needs to analyze what is the main goal from Russia and Ukraine, to balance both interests and to try once and for all to end this war. We see that Russia is interested in territorial goals. We see that Ukraine is scared about its sovereignty and losing also its territorial resources and its sovereignty, and they are afraid of the Russian intervention inside its political spectrum. So I think this needs to be taken in consideration.